Stars and solar system. All forms of energies which are available on the earth owe their origin to the sun. The amount of solar energy received by the earth every day is 50,000 times more than the total amount of energy. Sun produces enormous amount of heat and light energy due to the fusion of hydrogen atoms. For us, on the surface of the earth, the sun is the prime source of energy. In universe, the primary source is the sun. You always see the sun? No. Observing night sky is a very fascinating experience for everyone. Why you only see sun in morning time? You observe sunrise and sunset. What have you observed night in the sky? Do you know about the essential objects and their movements? You don't know clearly about the earth and the solar system. Read the following questions and check what you know about the sky and our earth. What are essential objects that we can see in the sky? Are the stars moving? Do you see the same stars at night and early in the morning? Do you see same stars during summer and winter nights? What is the shape of the moon? Why does it change? Why doesn't the sun changes its shape daily like a moon? Where exactly is the sun situated in the sky as moon? Why does the shadow of the tree change from morning to the evening? Why sun only gives the heat but not the moon? Does it emit the light by their own? Do the planets twinkle? Scientists have done a series of experiments. The year about 2000 BC is called Dark Age. In olden days, there are no such instruments like telescope, satellites to know the answer for these interesting questions. Then, how the people observed the sky and celestial bodies without using instruments like telescope? One thing we have to remember that people made these observations from the earth and not from any other point in the sky. Elderly people seem to know a lot of things. Some of them can tell the time of the day simply by looking at the shadows of some objects, and the time measured using shadows approximately same as that of the measured time in wall clocks. How do they make such guess? Observing the changes in the length of shadow. A shadow is nothing but an opaque body placed in the path of the light, obstructs the passage of light and produces a dark patch on the surface. This dark patch is called shadow of an opaque object. This experiment should be performed on a day when the sun is clear, that means on a sunny day, not on a rainy day, and in between morning 9 and 4 in the evening. Take a open ground when sun rays are sharply falls on the ground. Pick such a spot. Place the table on a ground. Take a stick which is little over a meter of the stick. Fix vertically on the table. The surface of the table is white. A paper will be stick to the table.
We observe that the shortest shadow caused by the vertical object on the ground always falls in the north-south directions. With the help of above activity, if we want to know the directions at a given location, that is, you can use this fact to locate directions. The time when the shortest shadow occurs is called the local noon time at that place. Observe on the next day whether the shadow of the stick falls at the time the same spots at the same time through the day. Can we use the stick as a clock to tell the time? Yes. 2 weeks later, once again check to see whether the stick's shadow falls off the same times during the day. If the shadow does not fall on the same spot, what could be the possible reason? The reason is that the position of the sun in the sky changes continuously from morning to evening or during the day. If we perform the experiment throughout the year, not only on one day, we observe that the position of sun changes from day to day throughout the year. That is, the position of sun at 10 a.m. today will be different from its position 2 weeks later at the same time. If you choose particular time every week and mark the position of the sun with a peg at a time, you can build a calendar for the full year. In olden days, people used to calculate the time by observing the shadows of different objects. During a period of 2 weeks, you had made an observation. The length of the shadow at a particular time is changing day by day. Did it come longer or short? By observing the direction of shadows, can you guess the arrival of summer or winter?
Activity. Do you observe sunrise and sunset daily? Is there any changes present in the sunrise and sunset every day? Observe the sunrise from your house. Choose a tree as a reference point. Over the next 10 to 15 days, does the spot of sunrise change? If it changes, in which direction does it seem to move? When it looks like traveling towards north of the sky, it is called Uttarayanam. When sun looks like traveling towards south of the sky, it is called Dakshinayanam. The sun traveling towards south or north during the time, that is the reason for the change in the length of the shadow of the stick day by day. Olden days we were using the length of the shadow, but the length formed by the stick changes continuously. To overcome this problem, we made sundial also. Activity. Make your own sundial. First of all, you will need to cut a right angle triangle ABC from a sheet of cardboard. Angle C of the triangle should equal to the latitude of your city or town, and angle A should be 90 degrees. Fix your cardboard triangle vertically in the middle of the triangular wooden board. Glue strips of paper along both edges of B and C and the wooden board to make the triangle stand erect. At 9 in the morning, draw a line along the shadow of side A, C on the wooden board. Write the time alongside the line. Draw lines of the shadow of side A, C at 1 hour intervals through the day till sunset and mark the time of each line. Your sundial is ready. With the help of sundial formed shadow, we can know the time. That means by looking the shadows of the sundial, but remember that base BC of the triangle in the sundial must always be in the north-south direction. Have you ever observed the movement of moon in the sky? Does the moon appear at same point at the particular time every day? Is the shape of the moon changes? If it changes, what is the reason for this change? Is the shape of the moon same on every day? Activity. Why does the shape of the moon change? Wrap a ball tightly with a white handkerchief or with a piece of white cloth. Assume this is moon. Now hold this ball in front of your eyes in bright sunshine as shown. Observe how the shape of the illuminated part of the ball changes. Face of moon. Does sunlight falls on half the ball at all times while you turn around? Does the shape of the illuminated part on the ball viewed by you same in all positions during your rotation? Why does this happen? The large circle in the middle is the earth and smaller circle around it represent the moon in different positions. Now we see the phases of the moon on different days. If the sun rays falling on the moon illuminate half its surface in all the positions, at one particular situation we cannot see the entire illuminated part of the moon. In some case we see the entire illuminated surface, while in others we see only some part of it. This is happening because we know that Earth revolves around the sun as well as the moon revolves around the earth. During this process, the shadow of the earth falls on the moon, but the position of earth as well as the moon changes continuously. So, if we know part of the moon comes into the shadow of the earth, we saw the total moon. If some part of the moon enters into the shadow of the earth, then we saw only some part of the moon. The day of the new moon is called new moon. The new moon day is the day. In that day, we do not see the entire part of the moon. When the moon is in position 2, a small part of its illuminated surface is visible from the earth. On day 7, the moon is in position 3. So, more of its illuminated part is visible from the earth. After 14 days, the entire position of the moon is visible from the earth. This is the day of the full moon. Now, in the same way, the moon appears smaller with each day as it passes through positions. After 28 days, the moon is once again in position. Student activity. Try to do the activity with the ball. For this, you will have to hold the ball towards the sun. In this position, which half of the ball is illuminated? Now, we are all observing nearly half of the surface of the moon. But we cannot see the moon on the new moon day, since the illuminated surface is on the opposite side of the point of observation of Earth. Then, what about the full moon day? On the full moon day, the illuminated half of the moon face the point of observation. So, we see full moon. That means the sun and the moon must be on the same side of the earth on a new moon day. This happens on a new moon day. They are on opposite sides of the earth on a full moon day. During the phases in between, we see different shapes of moon. Can you now state in which direction the moon will raise on a full moon day? While we observe the moon early in sky on a full moon day, we know about the spots those are visible on the moon. Really, are they present? In olden days, people were very curious about the spots appear on the moon. To know about the spots details, first we know about the surface of the moon. Before knowing about the surface of the moon, the people said many stories about the spots present on the moon. But today, we are not listening such a type of stories because of the coming satellites. With the help of satellites, we are knowing many facts about moon. Human beings observed the surface of the moon. They landed on the moon way back in 1969. The surface of moon. When astronauts landed on the moon, they found that the moon's surface is dusty and barren. There are many creatures of different sizes. It also has a large number of steep and high mountains. Some of these are as high as the highest mountains on the earth. But the moon has no atmosphere like that on earth. Moon is a non-luminous body. That means the bodies that does not emit light by their own are called non-luminous bodies. Moon gives us light, but naturally that light was not emitted by the moon. The sun gives us the light. That light falls on the moon. The moon reflects the light. So, it appears to be brighter and gives us light. We observe the moon in the sky at night. Sometimes we observe the full moon with more brightening, but sometimes on the full moon day, the moon loses its brightness. It appears to be covered partially or fully. This is called lunar eclipse. Why does the moon get covered? Like the moon, the sun also gets covered from some time partially or fully on some of the new moon days. This is called solar eclipse. Umbra. Umbra is the complete dark part of shadow where no light reaches. Penumbra. It is the less dark part of the shadow where light reaches only from the portion of the light source. Eclipse. We know that sun is a self-luminous body. That means they emit light by their own and is bigger than earth in size. And the earth is opaque body. The body do not allow the light to pass through it is called opaque body. The earth's satellite moon is smaller than the earth. The moon is also opaque. Also we know that the earth goes round the sun and the moon goes round the earth. During the course of these revolutions, the moon may happen to come into the umbra and penumbra's part of the earth. Similarly, the earth may happen to come into the umbra, penumbra part of the moon. At such a time, an astronomically event called eclipse occur. Lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse occur when the moon is on far side of the earth from the sun and passes through the earth's shadow. This occurs when sun, earth and moon come in straight line or closely. So, the earth is in the middle. The earth blocks the sun's rays striking the moon. So, at that moment, the people cannot see the moon. This eclipse is called total lunar eclipse. Partial lunar eclipse, however, if only a portion of the moon enters the umbra with rest part in penumbra, a partial lunar eclipse occur. Why does a lunar eclipse occur only on a full moon day? The earth comes between the sun and the moon on full moon day. But every full moon day, the total part of the earth does not cover between the sun, and for every full moon day, the three, sun, earth and moon, does not lie in the same straight line. So, we are not observing lunar eclipse for the every full moon day. When moon lies exclusively with the earth's penumbra, the penumbra causes partial darkening of moon's surface. This eclipse is called total penumbra eclipse. Solar eclipse. A solar eclipse occurs when the moon passes between the sun and the earth. This can only happen on a new moon day, when the sun and the moon comes in the straight line as seen from the earth. When the moon does not completely block the sunlight because the size of the moon is smaller than the size of the sun. So, the moon does not absorb all the light coming from the sun. Because of not allowing of light rays up to certain region, the people who lived in the umbra region of the earth can see the complete solar eclipse. The people who lived in the penumbra part were observed the partial solar eclipse. However, the complete solar eclipse not present all time because there is a change in a position of the moon and the earth continuously. And at this time, all people present in the earth were not observed the total solar eclipse. Partial solar eclipse can be observed when only the partial shaded outer region of the shadow cast by the moon touches the earth. Annular solar eclipse. It occurs when the sun and the moon are exactly in line. Just apparent size of the moon is smaller than that of sun. In this, the sun appears very bright ring surrounding the outline of the moon. A partial solar eclipse occurs when sun and moon are not exactly in line and moon partly blocks the sun. Note: when a solar eclipse can be viewed only from small area of the earth, whereas lunar eclipse can be viewed from anywhere on night side hemisphere of the earth. A solar eclipse lasts for only a few minutes at a given place, but a lunar eclipse lasts for a few hours.